Sorry?
Solo leveling.
Solo leveling. Okay. Any other comments? Yes? Adventures of Tintin. Okay. Behind there. Sorry? Okay. Anyone else? Black Beauty.
Goku traveling Moran.
Wow. Okay. Yes? Asterix. Okay. How many of you are Asterix and Tintin fans over here? Okay. Asterix and Tintin. I'm still a huge fan of Tintin and Asterix. And I grew up reading all of these comics as a child. Yes? How do we draw comics? Okay? First, what are comic books? What is a comic book? Is it a picture book? Is it a novel? What is a comic book? What do you have in a comic book? What do you see in a comic book? There are many different pictures. Yes? And? Yeah, you. Yes, a comic book is full of pictures illustrated in panels. Yes, I will show you how do we make these comic books. But first, next slide. Like I said, they are made up of panels. Okay, next. Panels are little boxes. Panel 1, panel 2 and panel 3. How many panels can you see here? 3. 1, 2 and 3. Now, do these 3 panels tell you a story? Can you tell me what's in panel 1? A rose. Second is? A ball. Is there a story here? No. Okay, let me see. Next panel. Now, can you see a story? Yes. Panel 1, there's a rose. Panel 2, somebody is plucking the rose. Panel 3, you see a child smelling the rose. That's a short story. So in a comic book, we tell a story in panels. Okay? So panel 1, 2, 3 and it goes on and on. Like it depends on how long your story is. So today I'm going to take you through this little exercise where you all are going to make a story and also draw it. Okay? Are you ready? Yes? Do you have your pencils and papers? Okay, ready? Okay, next panel, next page. Can you go on? How do we make a story? Are we all good at making stories? We all make stories? Yeah? Every day we make a story. We make up stories to tell your dad and mom things at home. You immediately make a story, right? You want to make an excuse to not do your homework, you will have a story. You will have a story for anything that would, be interesting for your dad and mom or your brothers and sisters. We always make a story. What do you need to make a story? What goes into making of a story? How do you make a good story? What do you need a story? Yes?
We need an idea.
We need an idea. Okay, what's an idea? Let me see. Next panel. Okay. We need an idea. Besides an idea, what do you need? Yes? Creativity. Very good. Where do these ideas and creativity come from? Where do they come from? From your brain, from your imagination. Very good. The right answer would be imagination. Do we all have imagination?
Yes.
Where does that imagination come from? Who puts all these imaginative things in your mind? How does that happen? By observing. How does it happen? By observing. What is observation? Observation is when you walk into a market, when you see what do you see in a market? You see the vegetable seller, you see the fruit seller, you see a little dog, you see a little fish seller, you see the cat over there, you see the houses, you see the shops. What do? You observe all of these things. When you look at and observe things around you, you can make up a story. If I tell you, you go to a market, observe things around, can you make a good story out of it? Yes, you can make a good story, right? So in a story, if you look at the first panel over here, now this is a character, his name is Shambhu. Okay? Now what is the story about? Shambhu is walking out in the forest. Second, he sees an apple. Third, he is eating it. And fourth, is going away. Now that's a happy ending to a story. Now let's make the story more interesting. Shambhu is walking down. He sees an apple. He's eating the apple, and in the last panel, what happens? There's a dragon. Okay. Now where did that come from? That is where your imagination comes in. In storytelling, you have to use your imagination to make the most simple story into a fantastic ending. Right? So I will show you all. I'll go on to the next panel. Before we go on to character design, what is character design? Now every story will need a hero, right? You all have a hero in your mind? So the first thing that you need to create a story is a character. How do you design these characters? Okay, now I will show the whiteboard. Now you can use your papers and I go step by step. The first thing in every story you need is a character. Okay? Now in this story which I'm going to, you are going to be creating is a character. I will show you how to draw this very popular character. His name is Shambhu. Shambhu is a character from Tingle Comics and I have been drawing this character for almost 26 years now. He is a forest ranger. Who is a forest ranger? What does a forest ranger do? What does he do? A forest officer, a forest ranger, what does he do? Any idea? Yes? He goes out in the forest and what does he do? Yes? He protects the forest. What does the ranger do? He protects the forest, the animals and the birds. And he fights, you know who? Who are the bad guys in a forest? The hunters or the poachers. Now Shambhu fights these poachers and he rescues animals. Now when you rescue animals, where do you take them? You put them in a cage? No. A zoo? Maybe, but in a sanctuary, which is a much larger space for an animal or a bird. So what Shambhu does, he rescues animals, he fights poachers and he puts them all in a sanctuary. Now I will show you how do you create this character Shambhu. The character was created way back in 1982 and it's very simple. How many of you are good at drawing? Very few? Okay. How many of you are good at drawing objects? Circles, squares, triangles, everyone can draw that? Okay. So this is what you basically need to draw Shambhu. Now Shambhu is a huge fan of rasgullas. How many of you love rasgullas? Everyone. Okay. So how do you draw rasgulla off your paper? Because there will be at least 4 drawings that we will do on one sheet. So use one corner of your paper and draw a circle. Yeah? Okay. Now, can you all draw a curved line? The curved line will cross that circle. What does it look like? It looks like a hand. Okay. Let's draw one more line and join it over here. Okay? So this is Shambhu's hat. You know the forest ranger, they wear a hat. You have seen Shambhu's drawing? Okay. So Shambhu wears a hat and on the hat there's a design. which is one straight line. They're very simple lines, curves and circles that we are using. 3 curved lines, 1, 2 and 3. A rectangular box. Like I said, I'm keeping it very simple. We are going to use all the different shapes. So rectangular box on the top of his hat. Now, Shambhu has a nose which is in the shape of an egg. What's the shape of an egg? Oval. So can we draw an egg? He's got a nice oval nose. And he's got a big mustache. The mustache is a curved line. A curved line. You cannot see Shambhu's eyes. Okay, so now that's the best part about this character. Want to show the character holding his hands up. Okay, very simple. Suppose you want to show the character standing. Okay, very simple. You can draw the head, you can draw Shambhu's head, but for the body, we'll do the. This is a question for everyone over here about how do you imagine things. Okay, because when you make a story, you need imagination. Correct? Now I'm going to ask you a question. Now this question is for everyone, the teachers, the children and all the guests here. You can think about it if you don't have a paper, but if you have a paper, I would want you to draw one little thing which I'm going to tell you all to do. This is an exercise about how can we all think alike. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you all, ready? Can you draw a scenery? Yes? Quickly, everyone. Those who can draw. Scenery. Those who won't draw can imagine it. Now I will tell you what you all have done, or most of you would have done. How many of you did this? How many of you drew 2 hills and the sun? On your paper, how many of you have drawn the 2 hills and the sun? How many of you have drawn? No, don't draw it. I'm just saying, how many of you imagine this as a scenery? The first thing when I say draw a scenery, how many of you have drawn this? Some of you? Okay. The parents, the teachers? No? Yours is different. How many of you have thought of the 2 hills and the sun? Okay, so the point is, when we imagine things, we all think in the same way. You know, we don't question, maybe this could be something else. The 2 hills and the sun cannot be a scenery. It can be a lot more. And that is where your imagination comes in. That is where you need to change how we think. When you think in a different way, you are going to make your story very interesting. Okay? So now if you look at this very closely, can you all draw this on a paper? Can you all draw this? On that paper only. Yeah. Can you draw this 2 hills and the sun? A drawing of what? No? Look at it very closely. What does it look like? A Rasgulla. Okay. So my point is, perfect. 2 samosas and the Rasgulla in the middle. Right? Now you see it? So the point is, look at objects in a different way. Use your imagination in such a way that your story is going to be different. Now, I can see a lot of other things in this. Maybe I can see a bird. You look at a drawing and imagine something completely different. Imagination is important. The way you think is important. If everyone thinks in the same way, would we have a good story? You don't have to draw this. You have to use your own imagination and draw what you feel comes out of your mind. Okay? I'll show you one more example. It's a very simple exclamation mark. You have to draw this. Now you'll tell me, is this an exclamation mark? Yes, it is. Can you make it something else? Now what can you make it? It's a bat ball. Very good. Stump and ball. Very good. Yes. It's a bus. Okay. Can you draw it? A wicket and a ball. Yes. Wow, that's very nice. It's a door and it's a... Yes. Yeah? It's a tree. Okay. So now what we are doing is, we are now thinking in a different way. We are questioning this exclamation mark. Maybe we'll draw something around it. It's a butterfly. Okay. So what we've again done is, we are pushing our imagination to think in a different way. Now you'll agree that you can make this a butterfly? Okay. One more. Let's see what more. You have taken a small part of the bigger visual and you have made this. So the exclamation mark is a small part of the bigger picture. So your story idea, so this is where your ideas are going to come from. This is where you're going to think of your story. I want you to get all charged up, so when you make a story, you're going to think in a different way. Okay? So exclamation mark is done. This is a triangle. And we come down to paneling. Now, in a story, when you make panels, for example, every story will have a number of panels on a page. For example, this is panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. That is how you tell a story. So you tell a story in panels which move from left to right. So when you start a story, your first panel will come here, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. Same way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again in that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and it goes on. Bottom of a panel. Now this one will tell you what is happening in that scene. So for example, this is a palace, and if the upper commentary says this is a palace from the kingdom of so and so king, and the lower commentary will say one night something happened in the palace. So that is where the lower commentary comes from. Next one. Yeah. Now in a story, you have different characters. Now one of the characters you know is Shambhu. The other character can be anyone whom you want to put in your story. Now when there is a conversation, when two people are talking in a story, what will come up next is a speech bubble. Now what is a speech bubble? A speech bubble is something which tells you who is speaking. Now in this case, the first character is speaking. Where did it go? Yeah. This is called a speech bubble. Now a speech bubble is basically when the character is speaking and what is he speaking or what is she speaking is written in this speech bubble. There are different types of speech bubbles. Some are ovals, some are squares, some are rectangles. It can be of any shape. When you draw your story, you can use any of these shapes. Okay? Next page. The next part of storytelling is whisper. Now when a character is not talking and they are whispering to each other, it's called there is a bubble which is called a whisper bubble. Now how is a whisper bubble drawn? Go to the next one. It is basically a dotted line which is used in place of the speech bubble. You can make notes of this, you can write it down so that when you make a story, you can write about it. So a speech bubble is basically the dotted lines which make a whisper bubble. So this bubble, which is a whisper, it's not a speech. So it becomes a whisper bubble. Next one. Okay. Now what's happening in this scene? The mother is shouting at the kid. So what is this bubble over here? It's called a shout bubble. Okay. Now in the shout bubble, how do you do it? Go to the next page. The shout bubble is a very sharp-edged balloon like this, which gives you an expression that the character is screaming. Now in comics, the reader has to read and understand what his story is. So this bubble, when it comes up, you know that the character is shouting, you add in a shout bubble. Okay, next page. What is this girl doing? She is thinking. Okay, so what is she thinking? So that's a thought bubble. And how do you draw a thought bubble? Yes, go to the next page. Yeah, we all know that. It's like the clouds, right? So what is this girl thinking about? She's thinking about ice cream. So that's a thought bubble. Okay? The next page. Okay, now there's an action. Now in a comic there's a lot of action. Now this action, what is this boy done? He's thrown an aeroplane. Okay? So when you throw an aeroplane, you need to show the motion. What is called the motion line. How is the aeroplane going? It's going up. So if you look at the next page, it shows you the motion of the action. Now in this, the action is the aeroplane going up. So there are these speed lines or the motion lines which you will use. Okay? Next one. Okay. Now this action, what is this action? This is something which is falling on the man's head. So what would be the effect over here? There will be a sound effect. So that is called an SFX. In comics it's called SFX, like it's sound effects. And what will be the sound over here if this is, I think, a coconut falling on a man's head? What would be the sound? A thud? Right? Okay, let's see what sound do we have. Next page. A thud. So in comics we use all of these different sound effects, okay, to tell a story. Next page. Okay. So now here you have Shambhu. He's seeing something, he's opening it, and the last panel is a suspense. Okay. So now, this is how you're going to draw your comics. You have a fresh page, 3 panels, you have the character. Second other part is, what do you give this character? Can I go to the whiteboard? We have the character, that is this one. Okay, now the second part is the prop. The prop is like an object that you would want to use, want to give your character a prop. Now what would you give Shambhu? What would you give Shambhu? Say, don't give him a gun. What would you want to give? Any interesting ideas for Shambhu? What would you want to give him? He already has a hat. Apple? Okay. Shambhu, you want to give him an apple? Okay. Anything else? Something very different. Like I said, use your imagination. Oh? 40? Sorry? I didn't get you. Right. Huh? A body. Okay, no, I'm saying an object. An object. A slingshot. Okay, let's give him a smartphone. Okay, or anything else? Sorry? A camera. Yes, let's give him a camera. Anything else? A pencil box. Okay, let's give him a magic pencil. Okay, anything else? Something very different. Yes. A small mustache. He's all got a big mustache. Okay. Sorry? Okay, magical shoes. Okay, that's nice. Washing machine. Okay, so shampoo with a washing machine. That's a good one. Okay. Okay. Okay, now we have got enough props. Now let's think of a situation. Now situation is where you want shampoo to go.
Jungle.
Jungle? Jungle so he goes every day. In a village. Okay. Haunted village. That's a nice one. Okay, haunted village. Magical world. Okay, magical world. You are going to make a story with shampoo. Use one of these props, and one situation. Okay? Okay, can you give me an example of what prop should I take? Shampoo, washing machine, and underwater. Okay, shampoo has got a washing machine. I am giving you an idea. Shampoo has got a washing machine. So, his name is Shanti. Okay, you want to send shampoo in a volcano? Please do it. Would you have to draw it also? Okay. So Shanti gave shampoo a washing machine and said, Shampoo, you don't do any housework. Take this washing machine and do all the washing now. So shampoo put all the clothes, the bed sheets, the pillow covers, everything in the washing machine. It was a big washing machine. Okay? Now, one fine day, when Shampoo had put all the clothes in the machine and he had plugged it in, there was a loud sound. Okay? There was a loud sound. Where did that sound come from? The washing machine. Okay? The washing machine started working on its own. Right? And the water started coming out of the washing machine. You have an attachment, you put the water goes in the machine, and the water started coming out. And there was so much of water, the whole of Shampoo's house was full. And the water started, it was never stopping. It was a magical washing machine and Shampoo didn't know about it. And now this magical washing machine was not only giving out the washed clothes, it was giving out a lot of water. And all that surf and everything that Shampoo had put in was bubbling out and the whole house was full of water. Finally, Shampoo could not do anything. He could not find where the tap was and ultimately they had to run out of the house. He didn't know where the buttons also were. It was a washing machine which was a magical one and it just kept on putting out all the water from the taps and the whole house was full of water. So that's a very short story. Now I want you all to think of, you select your prop, you select your situation and can you draw a 3-panel story? Whatever you guys want to select, okay? I'll just draw the 3 panels for you all. Shampoo is, say, on Mars, okay? He's a cat or a dog or a rat along with Shampoo. Of course, if you have an interesting situation, it's your story at the end of the day. Be free to change your characters and your prop. So I've already got 2 stories over here. One is Shampoo is going inside a haunted house.
Where he finds lots of spooky animals and feels very scared and calls after saying, oh. Unfortunately, he doesn't know how to use the magic shoes. moral of the story is that everybody should learn the use of the things he has.
Exactly. There's one story which is in. Who's given me this story?
He went give the mangoes to me, and the third person from the other tells that Sambu is coming. So he did that Sambu is coming. And
Was walking and he saw a camera with a magical ticket
Okay.
which was of Mars, traveling to Mars. Then he tried to click a photo. Then suddenly he went upwards and reached to Mars. There he met an alien and the alien helped him to click a photo.
So Shambhu got a magic camera and he clicked a photo and he reaches Mars. And then on Mars he meets an alien and they click a selfie together. Yeah.
Please, for clicking a photo, when he was clicking, his phone fell into the volcano and burned.
Okay.
অ্যাট দ্য এন্ড ঠিক আছে যেহেতু এটা ম্যাজিক্যাল পেন্সিল ছিল তো এই অ্যানিমালসগুলো সব লাইটলি হয়ে গেছে জীবন্ত এবারে বাচ্চারা সব ভয় পেয়ে গেছে বাকি শম্ভু অ্যাট দ্য এন্ড what they did শম্ভু made them have fun at the end and all are happy
Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah. So what can I do? I request everyone to give your drawings to your teachers.
Where is Priyamis? Oh, Priyamis has to do Ishal. Anyone else?
Other stalls are there. You can go and visit those stalls. Items of Purulia in and around Purulia display in the ground floor. Please visit the stalls. We have Dogra items. We have handicrafts made of bamboo brush and many other handcrafted items. I would request parents to visit those stalls.